Hi, Sajady here with Mas on Sundays. Welcome back. A lot of great individuals joining us online and getting more and more people viewing it afterwards. I highly encourage you, though, to listen to it live if you can. I know we're all over the world. There's different time zones and so on. The frequency is a bit more powerful, although the frequencies are just as good on the recording. But if you like to, and if you're new and if you'd like to experience the frequencies, the best way to do it is to be online live. That way I can actually analyze your frequency signature, or basically why your life is the way it is, explain your life to you, and then help you change it. And that's what Mas on Sundays is really about. A lot of people go, well, what is Mas on Sunday? Well, Mas on Sunday is life explained. It explains why your life is the way it is. And then it helps you find solutions on how to solve your life for real. Not just band-aids or anything like that, like psychology, NLP, medical or anything. Not that I'm knocking any of those down, but you need real deep down level, or what I would call, and Elon Musk would call, first principle solutions to your life. So again, Mas on Sunday, life explained. Exponential Intelligence, life solved. Literally, that's just how simple it gets. If you had to break everything down, a lot of great comments, so keep them coming in. It is hello, XI peeps, beautiful family, people from all over the world, New York, London. By the way, we'll be in London coming up. The Ibiza will be there in June. Boulder, Colorado. We'll be everywhere actually coming up now that COVID is off. All right, so welcome to Mas on Sunday. This episode is how to slow down aging, the XI science of longevity with exponential intelligence. So can you age younger? And I'll just read this content. Learn the secret to the fountain of youth. Science is starting to realize that everything is made of frequencies. In fact, great minds like Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla knew this back in the day. Einstein said, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. So that's what Einstein was saying, and what I'm saying, or what XI physics dictates. And if you don't know what XI physics is, I'll just give you a brief rundown, and then we'll get into, say, the logistics. Because what we teach here in XI, it's not about again, psychology. It's not about thinking things differently. It's not about state change. It's not about psyching yourself up. It's not about injecting yourself with more whatever that they inject you to keep you youthful and all that. It literally is about the frequency that you're resonating at. So science, or Einstein, and we're finding out more and more, is that if you're resonating with a specific frequency, there's no way that you cannot attract that frequency into you. If you're resonating with that frequency, for example, say old age. Okay, if you're resonating with old age, no matter how young you are, you will feel old. And that's what a lot of you, how many here have you, and I'll give you some examples right off the bat, and then we'll get into the science. That way, it's more, say, believable for you. And whether you believe in something or not, it still works the same way. It's just that you have to adjust to the new way of thinking. So think of it this way. How many of you have seen young people who look and feel really old, and in fact they have old age disease? Like sometimes, like 12-year-olds with arthritis and some of the other things that older people would get. How many of you have seen that? How many of you have seen it become more and more prevalent? Okay, that's a frequency issue. Okay, you might think, well, it's because of the food. Of course, it's the foods and all that. That's a second. That's an after cursor, not a precursor of why we're aging. And I'll give you the reason why that is a second cursor. Again, the diet, foods, environment, and so on like that. It literally is the frequency that you're changing. Your genetics. It's literally about the genetics, and then the frequency that your genetics is resonating at. Okay, how many of you who have say, for example, taking care of somebody old, and then you start aging like them. You start getting disease like them. Your parents, for example, after they, especially when they cross over, or a year or two before they cross over, you start turning into them. You start looking like them. You start all that other stuff, right? How many of you have done that? Again, comment in. How many of you? How many of you, when you were younger? How many of you, when you were younger, you had a tragic death in the family? That, you know, you were younger, there's a tragic death, or your grandparents died, or one of your parents died, and then as you grew older, um, people would go, you know, you remind me of your grandmother that died around your birth. How many of you have had that? Again, comment in, and you'll start to see it's like, wow, you know, what the hell's going on? Science might poo-poo it, but just because they don't know, they don't know, you know, the deeper details, right? And if when people don't know or understand the deeper detail, then it, you know, it affects their intelligence, or it makes them more insecure because they don't know about that field, which is okay with me. You know, they start to poo-poo things. Well, I don't believe that. So, this one, again, oh yeah, been there, hung out with my mom, and I started looking like crap. Yep, absolutely. I'm tuning into the frequencies with the twin girls of now 7 years, 69. Now my girls keep me young. Absolutely. That's what you are supposed to be doing, by the way. So anyway, and yes, I will scan you guys after the talk here just to prove to you, just to show to you. And by the way, I don't need proof. I don't need to prove it to myself. I've had hundreds of thousands of people transform their lives. So many old age young people. Absolutely. If you looked at my daughter, you know, 11 years old, you know, we were at a park, we were just hanging out, and they were looking at all the young, she was looking at all the young people, obviously, exponentially intelligent. She's looking at all the young individuals, and she's going, God, these kids are so old. And she's got abilities now, and she's starting to see, it's like, oh, that person is carrying on mom's patterns. That person is carrying. It's like, yeah, you're damn right. That's why. Because when you're younger, and here, this is how aging starts, by the way. Okay. And this is what we have to remove. And you know, I did a talk on, you know, Tony Robbins' new book, Life Force, and all those other modalities that go, you can age younger by taking this supplement, you know, doctor, whatever supplement, and, you know, do this exercise and you'll stay young forever. And, you know, and Tony Robbins going, you can stay young forever, and so on. But I talked about that. So you can take a look at that. You can take a look at the logistics. I'm not going to be talking about that, obviously, because it'd be a repeat of what I talked about, you know, just a couple of weeks ago. But this is a whole different, say, trajectory, getting you into a deeper concept on helping you understand that it's about the frequencies that you resonate at that is important for youth. Okay. By the way, I'm 61 years old. If I don't know if I have my older picture. Feifei, if you can send that to me on Telegram, I think that'd be great. If you have that, my old picture on again, proof on what frequencies can do for you. Okay. Frequencies, again, according to Tesla, according to the greats, Einstein and many others, Neil Bohr, everybody else, Schumann, it's all about frequencies. XI is all about frequencies. So a couple things I just want to close up. One, what is XI physics? It is a brand new level of physics. It goes deeper than, say, the quantum physics here. It goes into, say, quantum neuroscience or quantum neurobiology. So let me explain. You've got you've got Newtonian physics. So Newtonian physics was the first concept of, hey, there's physics in the world. There's certain laws that this world is dictated by, again, by Isaac Newton, right? An apple falls. It's like most people go, well, an apple fell. Well, Isaac goes, why did that apple fall? And why did it go down? Why didn't it go sideways? You know, and you'd go, well, that's obvious. It didn't. It went down. But then there are laws commanding that things, when they fall or there's no, say, pull or push on them, they'll balanced or harmonized, because everything is in harmony. So again, Newtonian physics is basically the heavier objects, the bigger objects of this reality, and how they work and how they function. Again, time, space, movement, speed, and so on like that. Electromagnetism, those are Newtonian type physics. That level of physics, say, understands. But then as we got more and more smaller, or more and more quantum, right? Some of the things like, electrons, or how come electricity works in a certain way, and how come such and such works in a certain way, or when the advent of microscopes came into play. No, honey, just go away. Thanks, babe. The advent of that was my little daughter. Thanks. The advent of microscopes came into play, and I'll just expand on that story here for a bit. So back in the day, in medical terms, okay, in hospitals and so on, before they had the advent of microscope, before they even knew about bacteria. Okay, what they would do, doctors would be proud on how bloody their jackets were, their coveralls were. They would actually clean from one patient. They wouldn't change gowns from one patient to the other, because it was more manly, more masculine to have the more blood on them, the cooler they looked, and that was the deal. But then over time, they wondered why so many patients, the surgery was successful, but then people started dying off. Okay, and then the advent of these amazing glass grinders came in, and that's where the microscope, magnification glasses, and so on. The advent of that came about. So they started looking at blood underneath a microscope, and this is where they saw amazing creatures in the blood, and it was a whole different, say, universe there, right? Very, very different what's on the inside of you than on the outside mechanics of you, right? Outside environment. And then that's where they started to understand, oh shit, it's bacteria, it's viruses, there's a whole different world. There's so many other things, not just negative things, but so many other, it's a whole different world, at a deeper level. And then you go deeper than that, and then you get into the quantum mechanics about, electrons, atoms, and so on like that. So it gets smaller and smaller. So one dictates the other. Now, there's what quantum neuroscience is talking about, is that there's something that takes that leap. Okay, it's that leap of consciousness. It's that leap that goes beyond your natural intelligence. So your natural intelligence is about, well, your heart rate. You would call it your autonomic nervous system, right? The way your heart rate, the way you grow. Puberty. When you eat something, certain chemicals release. All those things that you don't think about, it's already automatically programmed in you. Otherwise, you would have a hell of a time existing in here, right? Because you'd be too busy thinking about all the possible things that have to happen for you to stay alive here. Okay. So that's that autonomic nervous system. But what they're finding out, that there's a deeper level of an autonomic nervous system, if you want to call it your spiritual nervous system, but I would call it the bridge between your time-bound, say, physical, say, identity, and then your timeless identity. So it gets into, say, concepts of, say, what we call, the multiverse, or different simulations of yourself. But there's that bridge, there's that consciousness that goes from here to, again, a higher level. Now, some of you might think, well, this is too far-fetched. But, back in the day, so was bacteria. That was too far-fetched to think about that. Tiny microorganisms really dictate, how healthy you are, right? That was too far-fetched back in the day. If I was saying something like that, it's like, hey guys, the reason why you're really sick is because you've got bacteria or virus. People will go, what the fuck is he talking about? He should be put in jail. Same thing here. I hope you're not one of those individuals that listen to this and go, God, that's too far-fetched. You'd be those individuals that, the advent of the plane, or the advent of Bitcoin, or all those great technologies, you'd go, oh, poo until like a decade or so, they become real. It's like, oh shit. So if you're those latecomers, this show is not for you guys. This is on the precipice. This is past that edge of, say, what's really happening. This is advanced, say, knowledge. And it far surpasses the current sciences of today. I would say by decades. The Russian scientists might be a lot closer to what we're talking about. In fact, they're studying some of my abilities, or that not just my abilities, but some of the abilities that human potential actually has out there. All right, so let's take a breath in, and we'll make this an experiential experience, because it's about, like I said, frequency. And I'm that frequency generator for you, that I can create any type of frequency. Literally, I can get you high, say on mushrooms, without you taking mushrooms. In fact, there was a dear friend of mine. He had this cut, severe pain. We were in a boat. I put him into a state where he took a sedative, and he was out. Just like he had actually taken a sedative. So anyway, so you can do all that kind of stuff. How? It's because of the frequencies, not even the ingredients that are in that pill, for example. And I'll give you an example of that. So it's called an auric field of something. What creates that truth behind it? Auric fields, or placebos. Placebo pills, right? They're basically sugar pills. They're sugar pills that, and they did heinous studies back in the 50s, I believe, or maybe even as late as the 70s, where, they did 70s. That's where Charles Manson and so on like that, the FBI or the CIA, they did a lot of weird drugs on people, groups like that, unfortunately, to see the effect on that. But anyway, that's something different. It just popped up. But prisoners, they would say, hey, this pill will help you with, I don't know, sleeping better. And it was actually poison. It was levels of poison that could kill you. It didn't kill him. Literally, it was a placebo effect. In fact, most of your medications that you take, okay, they're more harmful than good. The placebo effect is almost the same. Literally, the cure rate, if you look at the real studies on a lot of the pills, pharmaceutical drugs, the placebo effect is not much further than the actual, say, ingredients that are in the pills. They're just as successful as the actual ingredients that cause, the whole list of other side effects, that we have to deal with. So that's how strong the placebo effect, or concepts of frequencies are. Because if you're resonating a frequency, or if the masses, say, believe in a certain, say, belief that is a lie, it becomes a truth, because again, it generates truth for you. How many of you experienced that, right? A lie told so many times starts to, over millions and billions of people, start to become truth. So those are all, say, different ways that that frequencies, can affect you. So what does XI think about frequencies? And I'll give you some stories on that. So so we've got, so just to reiterate, just to recap, we've got Newtonian physics, we've got quantum physics, and then I would call it pure physics, or what physics is like XI physics, or XI intelligence. Okay, and that level is literally the understanding of nature. It's not nothing new. It's literally the understanding of nature, how nature really, really works. Because even at the quantum level, there's a lot of things missing. There's a lot of things missing on how space and time works. There's a lot of things missing on how gravity works, on how black holes work, on how all those things that we think don't really relate to us, but they're all frequencies and they do affect us. Okay, so again, that's that gap between quantum physics and then, say, that timeless space that we need to be on, or that timeless intelligence, which more and more and more science is looking at. And that's why some of the quantum theories talk about the multiverse and all those other things. So again, XI is in that stage, and that's why XI, again, it's burgeoning, it's new, but a lot of people might look at it, it's like, oh, I don't understand it, so I don't believe it, or it's not going to work for me. The cool thing about it is that you're already practicing XI. You're already resonating at frequencies that generate you. You just don't know how to generate your own frequencies. If you started to generate your own frequencies, what would happen is that, well, you could start to create amazing things in your life. You can start to recreate your life. You can start to get healthy. You can start to get more vibrant. You can start to become wealthy beyond the burdens of wealth and so on like that. You can reverse age, and that's what we're going to be talking about here today. So the way XI talks about reverse aging, okay, is that and this is the mechanics that I take people through the frequency spas that I do, or some of those, say, private sessions, with people go, hey, Moss, I want to look, I want to look like 10, 20, 30 years younger than I am. And I go, okay, we can do that. Again, I'm not guaranteeing that I can do it specifically for you, but it has done for thousands and thousands of individuals. The reason why I can't guarantee it for you is because, again, it depends on, say, your blocks or situations that you would have to, say, clear up first before you get to that point. Okay, it's a level of awakening, not just like, hey, I want that. Well, you have to do X, Y, and Z first. So if you're willing to clean all that stuff up, then you can reverse age as well. So here's the logistics on how, say, reverse aging works. Again, most other modalities, usually injections, usually pills, usually whatever it is, exercise, eating healthy, removing yourself from stress and so on like that. Okay, so that's how aging works. But if you've noticed, those individuals who look healthy, they still look old. You know what I mean? They're aging. They're still aging like society. It's like, oh, that's a healthy, they might be 60 or 70 years old, or even 40. It's like, oh, that's a healthy, 60-year-old. It's a healthy 70-year-old. Again, you still look healthy, but you have the effects or the frequency that you're resonating out that says, oh, you're about 70, right? And if you look at a kid's skin, like a young person's skin, just their flesh, not their body shape or anything, just their flesh. If you just took a snapshot of, and try it out, you would see that you could tell that skin is a frequency of a younger person, right? And you go, well, what is that? Well, that's what I bottle. That's what I managed to, say, bottle and understand what that concept is. And by the way, like I said, I'm 61 years old. I don't know if they sent that picture for you. There we go. Thanks. Oh, this is a cute picture. I'll show those. Thanks, hon. I'll share that. I'll share my screen. But you can literally see the difference on, say, when people look old and they look healthy, and then people just, literally become ageless. And I'll explain what ageless means. Let me let me share my screen. Oops. Just give me a second here. Telegram. All right. I think you guys can see that. Can I expand? Can you guys all see that? My Telegram screen? Yeah. So Fete, you can, yeah, you guys can see my, so that's my young kids. But look at my face. I was healthy, but look how I was aging. And that was, shit, I think they might be like 4 or 5. So that was a long time ago. That was over close to, 6 years ago. Oh, blank screen. Nope. No, it's back. Stop share. You can't see the screen. Why can't you see the screen? Just give me a second then. Here, I'll do this. Let me take a snapshot of it for you guys. There you go. All right. Let's try it this way. Okay, can you guys see that? Or no? Black screen again, floated away, you're back. Can you guys see that or no? I can't tell. It's kind of a weird setup. Looking black, it's black. Why is that black? Stop. Okay. Can you guys see that? And Yami, if you can text me. So sorry, guys. Yes, we see it. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, seems like you see it. Okay. So do you see the difference, guys? Again, that was over 10 years ago, 12 years ago. This is where I am now and looking younger. And again, with my two daughters, look, again, healthy, but not really quite there, right? Again, older, just like aging like an older parent. So very, very different scenario there. So, all right. Coming back, resetting everything. All right. So thanks for that. But so why does that happen? How does that happen? No, you can't do that. With again, nutrition, even what they call vampire facials and all those things. You can look you can look young, but even those individuals who have fantastic, plastic surgery, your hair is bigger now. Thanks. Your eyes. Thanks. Yeah, I'm trying to grow my hair long. But anyway, if you look at, and here's the key, if you look at famous individuals, before and after, they've had makeup, they've had plastic surgery, they've had all that stuff, but do you notice that their flesh and their skin are still aging like an older person? Okay, do you want that? I mean, you might look great, but again, it's like, oh, she looks great, she's got great body, or they've got a great body, but then they're still aging. It's kind of like a has-been. It's like, gosh, I wish they could stay that way. It's kind of a shame, right? That they're aging, their physical skin is aging. So we figured out through I figured out a process on how to do that. So are you guys ready for it? Are you guys ready on how to do that? Okay. So through the process and through decades that I've worked on this, decades that I've worked on the decades that I've worked on, working on hundreds of client sessions, not hundreds of thousands of client sessions. Literally, that's a lot of clients. And the way I can do that is because it's not time-bound, say, technology or a time-bound modality. It's about the frequencies. So it's 10 minutes of frequency work can be worth about, say, a decade or more of, say, physical therapy, or even say, even medical intervention. Okay. I'm not talking about trauma or accidents or anything like that, but again, medical intervention. That's how powerful frequencies is. And again, Tesla, Einstein knew about it. Right. In fact, even Einstein said the future of medicine is about the future of frequencies. And some people go, well, it's that MRI machine and this and that. No, it's not. It's about you resonating or us understanding and harnessing the power of frequencies. Right? There are billions of dollars being researched on that. We're the latest technology because we can do it right now. We can do it today with people, and we have. Those who have done it already, again, let me know. So the point is that what XI does. Are you ready for this, guys? What XI does is like, wait a second. And we didn't create this, by the way. I just honed the technique. Okay. And it sounds crazy. But for example, I gave you ideas and concepts on why a young individual would look older, right? Or an old individual would look younger. That's what I started studying. I go, God, this person is 40 years old, but they look like a 20-year-old. Why does that happen? Okay. Or, they've had some kind of trauma or whatever it is, although they're, in their 50s, they're like, they look 20, 25 years old. Or the other way, the person is younger, but why do they look aged? Right. So I started studying the frequencies behind that on why they would do. And what they did, and this is what I bottled, is what they did is that they've managed to slow down or stop time. Now, say in a traumatic situation or in a near-death situation, and again, comment in on those who have started that. What they've done is like, say in your 20, and it actually could be somebody I'm reading, 1920. Around 19 or 20, somebody committed suicide. So whoever that is, please write in. Somebody committed suicide. It stopped you. It stopped you. So basically, you're moving along because time is just moving along, just like a video. It stopped you. Bam. You created a snapshot of that moment. Literally a snapshot. Boom. Okay. It's just like a video. You created a snapshot of that video, and then you live that snapshot. Although your life is going forward, you're always going back to that snapshot because you can't release it. Does that make sense to you? No matter what happens, that moment in time is frozen in your memory. It's so frozen that you literally have stepped out of, say, the train of time or those moving sidewalks. You guys have been on the moving sidewalks, right? You're on that moving sidewalk. You can walk around, move around, and so on like that, but you're still going with time. People, again, who have had trauma or even euphoric experiences, like with, psychedelics and so on like that, they've stepped out of their body so much, they didn't get back on, again, the moving sidewalk of time, which is always consistent. So they've created that snapshot. They just stopped right there. Their life keeps moving on. They're aging, so on like that. But their body goes, no, wait, I'm 20 years old. I'm 20 years old. Their cellular structure, all the things are of a 20-year-old. So, and this is a real life, whoever that is. Oh, that's you. That's me. It might be, yeah. So, okay. So is it Caroline? If you don't mind me, Caroline, I can just read you. Yeah. So again, so the story is for Caroline. Yep, that is you, Caroline. So the story is that 1920, somebody committed suicide. Your life just like shit, and you were so connected to that person, right? So basically, you were riding their shoulders, but they dropped off, and you're going, fuck, I don't know how to walk. I don't know how life works anymore, and just boom, you stopped, right? Would that be right, Caroline? And again, connecting with you. Yeah. So comment in, Carolyn. So, and then you're aging, boom, boom, boom. You feel like a 20-year-old. Your emotional status, your social status, the way you treat yourself, the way other people treat you, again, like a 20-year-old, not whatever age that you're at currently. Okay. So I'm going, gosh, what is that? By the way, there are obviously a lot of psychological disorders because of that. And I do resolve that for individuals. That's just a side point, but I'm just talking about, say, the aging process or becoming ageless here in this session. So I'm going, that's really intriguing. How do you do that? How does one stop time? Well, through the frequency spas and some of the other things that we do, what we've done now is like, oh, you can it's not like tricking your cellular mechanism. In each and every cell of your being, there's a clock. Your cells have a clock. And it's not just one clock in your brain. Your cells has its own clock. Basically, your genetics has its own clock. Your DNA has a clock of its own. Okay. Within that cell structure, it says, oh, it's time for me to expire or die off or whatever. Again, it's just a life, a universe of its own. It's a being of its own. Okay. Unfortunately, for most individuals, all those cells, trillions of cells, aren't, say, connected with each other. This cell is running some time clock. This cell is running from the past. This cell is running forward. For example, for Caroline, yes, yeah, that's you, Caroline. Yep, absolutely. And I'll work on you, by the way. And those of similar patterns, I'll work on you. So for Caroline, for example, her aging process still kept going. Her physical process kept going, but mostly, the internal and even your organs and so on kind of like got stunted around that time. And that's why you might have health issues, because your bone structure, Caroline, is of a younger person. You didn't quite form into, say, a strong adult type bone pattern, although, you're older. So that's why you would have, say, some types of bone issues as well. Again, I'm not diagnosing you, Caroline. I'm just telling you what I see, the possibilities of it. So what XI does is literally goes, wow, what if we could just harmonize all the cells? And that's the one key. Okay. Step one, harmonizing the trillions of cells to resonate in one. If you do that, guys, your life would be really fantastic on its own. Okay. A lot of your health issues would disappear, by the way. A lot of your inflammation, people go, the number one cause of disease and aging is inflammation. Inflammation is irritation. Irritation comes from, yes, different types of drugs, pollution, toxins, and so on. Obviously, that's the outside version of it. And I totally agree with that. That's absolutely true. What's another form of inflammation that nobody talks about? Inflammation between cells. One says, just think of it this way. If your partner is on two different time clocks and one partner is 5 hours ahead than the other partner, it's like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning for them. I want to fucking go to sleep. I want to get this. And your partner is going, hey, wait, it's early. Let's party. There's inflammation. There's going to be inflammation between the two of you, right? There's going to be that rubbing, that antagonism between the two partners, right? Just imagine trillions of cells not on the same time clock. So the first part of XI on that, if you want to get age, again, is starting to do the 18-day hyper meditations or the elevation coming up on June 6th. Guys, if you're new, this one's really cool. I was able to release certain people who I couldn't get over, but recently there's just another. Yep. So anyway, she's releasing all those patterns. Nice job. Anyway, I don't know why I read that, but so back to that. So one, all your cells harmonize as one. That's a huge achievement of your own. The next step is, okay, now we're harmonized. Okay. We missed out a lot on our lives. So it's like, well, when people get to that point, and this is where I can help you with it, is like, well, you're 60, for example, but you didn't really live, or what happened, what I usually go back to is a tragedy or some sort of element that stopped time, because it allows me to, say, understand, because you already made a crack in time. You already, say, broke free at that moment. So either a crack in time or something devastating, maybe a divorce that might have happened. And I forgot the person I was reading. Who was that? Carolyn? Yeah. Kelly, if you can just comment back in, I can tap into you again. Sorry. So anyway, So say something happens. So this person is 60, and again, it might not be whoever I was reading. So say that you're 60, say that you got divorced at 48 or something like that, right? It's like, wow, okay, 48, it was a cracking time. It was a devastating time for you. You stepped away from that moving sidewalk of life anyway. So it's like, wait, why can't I, or how can I, and I've learned to figure that out, how can I just step you back to 48? So literally reset the clock for you, telling your cells, now that they're all harmonized, to go, hey, you know what? You're actually 48. And it's that simple. Well, it takes a lot of knowledge, obviously, to do that. You can't just go, hey, I'm 48, because it's not psychology. But frequency wise, I've done that for people. They go 48 and they start feeling like 48. So it takes a little while. And this is the after effects of it. So now, you're 60. And again, I've helped you turn back to 48 if that's what you like. It's all up to you. It doesn't matter to me. You don't want to go too young though. You can go younger if you'd like, once you get the understanding of it, or stay a certain age. Okay. But you don't want to go from 60 to, I want to be in my 20s, because that's just too much of a disparity. And it's detrimental for you. So you're 48 years old now. So your cells, in a very short period of time, especially if you repeat that meditation that we do on the frequency spas, your cells, your identity, your inner self will go, we're 48 years old. Your cells will look at you as 48 years old. Your cells will understand itself as a 48-year-old cell, not something that's not an organism that's lived 60 years, because again, there's a biological clock. So your cells will go, what the hell am I doing? I'm looking in the mirror, and this is the after effects of you going through that, say, ageless process, is that you look in the mirror and people come to me. It's like, Moss, you did that aging process and I look older than ever. I look a hell of a lot older. Well, you would, because you're viewing yourself through a 48-year-old visual. Your concepts of who you are, your idea, your identity, your social self, all that is of a 48-year-old. Okay. You were 60 years old. So when you're looking at yourself, you're going, that's a hell of a lot of difference. What is that, 12 years? Yeah, 48, 52. Yeah. So that's a hell of a lot difference, right? So your cells go, that's not right. Because in today's society, a 48-year-old should look like X, not like Y here. So over the period of three to 6 months, however fast your cells transform itself or rotate itself over, you start looking younger and younger. You start creating yourself as a youthful, your skin tone, your skin texture starts looking younger and younger as you go through the process. Because your cells recreate themselves, they say, every 180 days. So instead of creating the next version of itself from the old version, we're going, no, wait, duplicate a young version of yourself. Right? It's simple science, but it's very obviously highly advanced for your cell to control yourself to do that. Now, people are trying to do that with vaccines and going, I don't know what the hell they're doing with vaccines, but people are trying to communicate the mRNA vaccines, right, that they do. They're basically telling the DNA to communicate to the cells that it's different, but that's fucked up, because the DNA still thinks the DNA clock is still set to, say, the timestamp or whenever you were, say, born or come into this reality. When you're conceived, that's when your time clock keeps moving. Okay. And it's very, very accurate. So what XI does, as an overview, is resets that time clock for you to go, hey, you're 48 years old in this example. Over time, your cells will start to create itself as a 48-year-old structure. And then this is where when you look back, okay, I have a dear friend, he's in his mid 50s, right? Almost had a death of a heart attack. Again, just overweight, obese, so on like that. Goes to the highest, best doctors and so on, because he can. Goes back to his doctors. His doctors go, what the fuck? What the hell happened? Your heart. And he's had heart issues. The whole family's had heart issues. You're of a 42-year-old and you're getting younger. His next goal is, hey, Moss, can you make me 38 years old? It's like, yeah, let's give it a try. You don't want to go too young though, because again, you're 55 something, you don't want to look like you're in your 20s. By the way, there's a beautiful woman I know. She did that in one of our frequency spas. She's in her mid 40s. I said, you want to go back to at least like 32, 34 and so on. She goes, no, I want to go back till in my mid 20s because that's when I look best. It didn't, I mean, she looks beautiful, just gorgeous. And if you're listening, you know who you are. She looked gorgeous, but 45, 25, her husband started looking at her strange because, her husband's a little older and now she's dating like somebody that feels like a 25-year-old, which for him isn't a turn on. Get it? So you have to think of those kind of things because it's that real, guys. It's not just, again, more injections or anything like that. That's how impactful it gets. It's really crazy how we can say transform. So again, the key is that you start to change your frequency. And it's not about frequencies of sound therapies and all those other things. It literally is. It's not you're changing your frequency. It's changing your, say, genetic makeup, as I would put it, that resonates a frequency that you're sending out. So that's really the key. It's the origin of your frequencies that you are sending out. By the way, I'm releasing a new product. It's called Origin, which is really going to be cool. It's high powered. So take a look at that. Even my team doesn't even know about it, but I don't know why that came out, but it came out. So take a look at that. So the key is for youthfulness or becoming ageless. And the reason why I call it ageless for you is because you have the beauty of youth. You have the wisdom of being timeless, hence ageless. Because when you can operate or when you can get yourself to, say, edit your age, and again, it's not me, doing tricks on you to age. It's me teaching your genetic makeup to go, hey, you can do this. It opens up a plethora of knowledge, a plethora of wisdom far beyond any of your life experiences. It's the wisdom of, say, time and space. So that's why, again, agelessness is really, really cool. Again, the youthfulness of your body, the wisdom of timeless wisdom. So, all right, we're going to take a break. And then we're going to get how to get on those sessions, Moss. Aging back a decade sounds interesting. And by the way, yeah, while we're taking the break, guys, comment in on those individuals and the frequency spas is really, really good. We're going to do a special aging process. We just wanted to hone, and we just, I didn't want to say anything that we couldn't do. So now we've gotten enough people that have gone through the process. I've got it honed down, just like mastered it. So now we're going to create, say, an ageless process for you all. And I don't know how long the course is going to be, the techniques and all that stuff. That's what we're going to figure out. It's an extension of the frequency spa. It's a higher level frequency spa. So that's what we're going to be coming up with if you're interested. So yes, there are private sessions, by the way, that do that. And by the way, the success, they're amazing, but they're not haphazard. They were just like, hey, Mas, work on my aging process. I go, okay. Or the frequency spas, we work on your aging process, right? So even if it's just like, put together haphazardly, people have aged amazingly. So now we're going to create, say, an ageless package that starts you from point A, gets you comfortable, helps you understand the logistics, and it walks you right through the steps. Okay. So it's a very, very powerful process. Along with that, we're going to give you physical techniques on what you can do, what products that are out there that now that you're aging frequency wise to get you back in shape if you need that help. Okay, some physical, I don't know, creams, maybe whatever else that might be available out there. We just want the best of the best for you. So it's all a complete package for you. If you choose to do that aspect of it as well, you know where to go. Okay, so again, just give us a little time because we wanted perfection on that. All right, so if you guys are into that, um, um, uh, Sandy C, yes. Anyway, so here's the deal. So that's that. So we're gonna take a little break, guys. I'm just gonna grab some water, and then we'll come back, and then we will do the frequency scans. All right, guys. This week-long event in Ibiza will experience a transformation like we've never felt before, because there has never been a moment in history like this. These frequencies that are coming in, we can all feel it. It's a brand new simulation. You already know who you're supposed to be. You know why you're here. It's time to take your place as a pioneer of this new consciousness. The island holds extraordinary energy. It's a vortex of raw power, grace, sensuality, creation. Over the course of the week, we'll integrate all of it. And the highest version of you is the consequence. The old you, it's over. The only thing left to do is courageously let go and confirm what you already know, that you are the operant power in this universe, and you are limitless. Join us for an exhilarating week in Ibiza. All right, guys, we are back. By the way, the new, after COVID, obviously, I changed through a lot. I went through some heavy times this past few weeks. I went to Peru, got elevation sickness and came back. Almost died. I used it as an opportunity to ascend really, a lot higher. So many of you are saying my abilities have transformed quite a bit, and they have. So the things coming up, even the Mother's Day event that we did just a couple of days ago, off the top, as far as say releasing all your mother patterns and so on like that. The European tour is in June and July. Check out the website for more details. I believe it is power frequencies. You can go to xi.com. xisuccess.com. That's a shorter URL. It might not be up. So before that, you can go to that link that the team just sent out. But either way, if you're listening to this later on, xisuccess.com will be up. But for now, you can go to that. So that's really interesting. Again, all the frequencies is going to be more advanced than ever before. It'll be more succinct. And the cool thing about it is, now that I know more of what I do, again, mastered it at a higher level. So thank you for your patience. I can explain it a lot easier, make it more simpler for you to go through the process. And there's so many people that have gone through the process. It makes it easier for you to, again, transform without, say, the detox, as some of you pioneers will remember back in the day. It was heavy stuff, right? Just like anything pioneering technology, the people who are in the front, they have to go through the most, because we have to carve out that niche, that path. So again, for all those who are there, thanks for being there. Driving to Success Consciousness, that's July 17th through the 21st. You really don't want to miss this event, guys. It's in a beautiful place, Minnesota. Brainerd, one of the top 5 resorts in the US of its kind. Really gorgeous. Bring your family out here. Your family can have a great time on the lakes and so on like that while you're in class or while you're driving, or somebody else can drive if you can't in your family. It's a great opportunity for your teenagers to learn driving. It's the safest for that. But outside of just having confidence on the road, it really pushes you to break the limits that you think you have, and then pushes you into the real, say, opportunities or the potential that you are. And that's where success really can come in, because you have to own that here. And then when you're having that kind of success, guys, nobody can take it away from you. You lose your money or whatever. This is where great individuals who've gone bankrupt, like I have, and then they come back even stronger. A lot of people go bankrupt and they'll just totally destroy themselves. This doesn't matter. I'm not saying you have to go bankrupt, but I'm saying it's so powerful that you can generate success at whatever level that you're at. Okay. June is elevation month, June 6th. That is about it's a program. It's not a beginner program, but it's for beginners. It's highly advanced. It's 4 days a month. You meditate with me. It helps you understand, say, the logistics of what frequencies are, because it's very different than any other self-improvement process that you've done. So that's really important for you. Or it's a momentum program for those individuals who are highly advanced and they just need that extra momentum to push them higher and higher into, say, their mastery. So check out the Telegram, XI with Sajady, gives you tips and tricks on, and it's on my own channel. I'm not into the social media. We have social media. Again, we're on, where are we? On Instagram and Facebook and so on, like that. But my personal posts is on XI with Sajady. So take a look at that. So that's personal deprogramming, by the way. Striving is on Tuesday, May 31st. So that's coming up really quick. And then also the Father's Day event coming up. So a lot of good things coming up for you guys. That's the June 13th to release all the father distortions that you've had. All right. Or if you want to be a top-notch XI father. All right, guys. So back to, I have to read this disclaimer and then we'll start scanning people. This is Sajady with Xponential Intelligence, Sunday, May 22nd. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't diagnose or heal. I can scan your frequency signature and tell you what I see. Please consult your doctors for professional advice. If you ask to be scanned today, you're agreeing that we may use your session on any public media to help inspire others. So remember, if you don't want us to share your session, guys, don't ask us to take it down. Just don't ask to be scanned. You can do that on private sessions or some other venue if you want. And all contents are protected by copyright. You may not use our content in any way, shape, or form for any purpose without my written permission. And obviously, we have stalkers or we have people that, might not like the truth and so on like that. If you're one of those, I can kind of sense that. If you're one of those, get the fuck out, go somewhere else and enjoy your life. Simple as that, right? There's different ways to live. So again, if you don't like it, get the fuck out. Go do something else with your life. This one is Reginald Mo Jensen. Please scan my health. So what you're doing, what's happened to you since you've taken XI is like you're starting to separate. You're starting to separate who you are compared to, I want to say, an older version. But it could be your grandmother, but it's probably your mom, or a feminine frequency. So it could be your father. But anyway, it's a feminine frequency. But they were burdened by their parents. Again, this is the processes of aging. They were burdened by their parents, just a heavy load, and it feels like your mom. But again, it could be a very feminine father, very, very heavy, very, very burdened. And then they died, and that burden even got heavier for them. Okay. That burden, you were a young kid and that burden just got laid on you. It's like, God, I can't carry this. Boom. So you were that anchor. You were that anchor child, or that crutch for your mom. Now you're leaving it. So really nice job. I see the heart space, a lot of, say, constriction in your health for you, so your arteries and veins, again, not a doctor, I'm just telling you what I see. They're very constricted. So you're very limited blood flow. And that's where, again, a lot of the organs don't get the nourishment, the replenishment that they need. And that's that part of you, the nice job about that. So nice job is that part of you is like, you're starting to see, it's like, wait a second, that's not mine. Okay? This is not my health issue. And sometimes when you get to that point, it's like, fuck, you get mad, you get really, really mad, you get pissed off. And it's like, hey, so you might be irritated at people because I'll give you a couple of reasons why. But anyway, so you're at the level where you're starting to see those health patterns going, this isn't mine, this isn't mine, this isn't mine, this isn't mine. So you can push it away. So when you're experiencing that, and this is what I'm helping you with, for you, if I'm reading one individual, if you're very similar, again, those patterns will work on you as well. So basically, if you're carrying the burdens of your parents, this will help you. So this will help you peel away that. So when you're feeling those things, just start to notice it's like, my mom had that, or so-and-so had that, right? And I don't want to have it. So your body starts to figure out that you don't have to have that. The other aspect of it is that, again, you might be pissed off, angry, not like people and so on, because you get managed to, the way you work is like, people dump their garbage on you, their emotional baggage on you, and even some of their health issues. So you're pushing back. It's like, no. So if you're short tempered with people and so on, it's a good thing for you, because again, you just don't want all their garbage in a very short time. You'll create a boundary where they just respect you. Okay. This one, Jason Lawrenson, good morning, Moss. Can you scan me? Sure, would love to reverse age. There's a possibility for you, Jason. And the reason why you'd probably, and you've got a really good reason, is because it's as a young child, I want to say 10, 12, 14 years old. By the way, if I read you, if I analyze, scan you, please comment in. I know I'm accurate, but just it allows you to go, shit, where did he tap into? Where's that knowledge that he tapped into? Because it's out there, right? You just have to have the right frequency to tune into, just like a radio station. For you, Jason, anyway, as a child, you took on the burdens of an older individual. So I see you 12 to 14 years old, either taking responsibility for somebody, or a father that didn't show up or got ill, or again, taking care of your siblings, or whatever. Anyway, that pattern of always taking responsibility. So it's like, shit, 12, 14 years old. Now I got to do X. I got to take responsibility. I didn't, you didn't say grow as a child, so to speak, right? Because you had to take the responsibility of an older individual. And this is where some of your puberty type patterns might not have worked out well. Because if you're going through puberty as you're taking the responsibility of an older individual, and again, this is more proof about what I said about becoming ageless and the technology that XI uses, XI ageless comes through, is that for Jason here, what he did was through puberty, right? He took on the burdens of an older individual. Okay. So the cells go, wait a second. I'm an older individual. We don't have to go through puberty. Because why am I going through puberty if I'm like 18 years old? So I'd like say 12, 13, you felt like an 18-year-old. Really messed up, the puberty process for you. So that process can be, say, reversed. And again, I can't guarantee anything, but for people, it's done that. They'll literally go back to puberty and like reset their bone structure. Your bone structure feels softer to me. Again, it didn't go into a complete, say, adult bone structure. And you're always wishing it's like, when is this job done so I can go back to being my youthful self? But now you're older and older and older, and you can't go back to this youth. And it's like, well, when is this done so I can go back into my 20s? Or when is this done so I can go back into my 30s and so on, right? So you're always wishing, right? I wish this was over. And no matter what it is, that's the sad thing about it. You could have a great time. You could have a great relationship or whatever. But the point is that no matter how good it is here in front of you, you're always wishing that you were back here to enjoy it here, because that portion is missed out. So yes, I could definitely help you. Even now, you'll start to see it's like, wait a second, I can enjoy what I'm here. But as you enjoy where you are here, it allows you to start to become ageless. And when you start to become ageless, you can kind of transverse time. You can kind of go back in time, right? And go, wow, I wonder, because you're expanding. You're not moving forward or backwards. And that's another key. Inner expansion, which is title of my book, you literally start to expand. It's like, wow, I could feel like I'm going backwards. And when you do that, again, some of the hereditary pattern, not hereditary, but puberty patterns and so on, solid bone structure and so on like that will help you out. So yes, we can definitely do that. And again, Jason, you're an easy fix for me. I can see because you're just like, fuck it, I'll do that. A lot of people go, God, why did that happen to me? So if you're that type of person, guys, XI works for you, but it's just a pain in the ass for you. Doesn't matter to me because it's the frequencies are frequencies. But it's like if you're just like, oh, why did mom do that to me? And why did it just let it go? It doesn't matter. Just let it go. Just let it go. Be a better person and then take care of that. But again, it's like, well, I'm afraid. I don't know if this works. All those types of individuals have a hard time with XI because literally the frequencies, you're getting pulled and you're dragging your heels, you're kicking your heels in and stuff. It doesn't work out well. So my ex is requesting a scan. Not sure if you can help him. The True Woman Show. Sure. So the key is that one, why isn't your ex asking? Two, that's one pattern with you. You're always like, you're moving ahead really well, right? You're moving ahead really, really well, which is really great. But then it's like, wait, I need to help somebody back here. And then you help somebody back here. What you want to do is like, you're moving really, really well. You don't stop moving really well. You just keep going and you yell out the window while you're moving forward, so to speak. If you're driving, it's like, hey guys, this is the direction you want to go. I'm not going to slow down or I'm not going to stop or even slow down for you. I'm just going to keep going, but this is the direction. Okay. Follow me if you want. That's where you, but again, what you do is you draw back. How many of you do that? And then you just recycle your life. Okay. So for your ex, I don't know if he has got head issues or something like that, alcohol type issues or some kind of addiction patterns. And then it might not be on drugs, but he focuses on one thing and he just can't let go of it. It could be something very simple. Like this is where, a smaller version of it is you listen to a song and that tune plays in your mind over and over again, right? But this is like a very extreme version, a habit. And he just has to do that habit over and over and over again, or maybe even like wash his hands over and over and over again. So that he gets stuck in that pattern. So it's a literally a mini time loop, as I call it. He gets stuck into something and he can't get over it. He can't get over it. So that pattern, it's kind of detrimental for his life because he has to finish that pattern and just get over it before he gets to the next level. So psychology and all that, drugs, all that stuff, not going to help him. It's literally a mini time that he gets stuck into. It goes back to his, from what I'm seeing, where, oh, poor thing. It gets back into his childhood. A lot of fucking commotion around him, a lot of arguments and all that stuff, maybe stuff being thrown around. What does he do? He's got nothing. He's got, say, something minimal to play with, right? So it's like, so basically drowns everything out, drowns everything out. And then what he does is like, I'm just going to focus on my little truck. I'm going to focus in on my little truck wheel and just play with the wheel and just concentrate on the wheel till this shit goes away. So, and then that's how he solves life problems, by the way, just forgetting everything, creating himself in this tiny microcosm. Poor thing. Really great guy, by the way. Super nice guy. But any, say, commotion comes around, he just like shrinks down. It's like, nope, can't handle it. And then he focuses on the smallest of things, by the way. And that's what keeps him safe. So it's a safety mechanism for him. Because if he looked at all this stuff back in the day, he'd fucking go crazy. I would too, by the way. So kids are really fantastic. They're so freaking brilliant at creating tools to keep them safe and stable, despite their fucked up parents and despite the fucked up society and environment. Okay. It's really time to transform that, by the way, and make it easier for kids. So despite all that, they're normal, but then that tool that saved their ass back then, they can't let go of it. they literally can't go of that time moment because they're stuck in that time moment, right? They've used that tool. It's gotten stuck in that time moment. So you just release that time moment for them. And then it's like, oh, I get it. And then he can use the problem solving abilities to, if he has a problem, he can go inwards or escape for a little bit, come back with a brilliant solution. That's what we could turn that into. So do you see how like little things back in the day, fuck you up later on if you're using fantastic tools here, and then the same tool when you're older doesn't really work out well. Okay. All right. I do that sometimes. Thank you for your great labor. Please scan me. This is Ruben Coella. Ruben, again, not a doctor or something like that, but there's a darkness in your chest here, and it might not be yours. Okay. It doesn't seem like yours, but there's just a heaviness or darkness, or maybe somebody, again, not diagnosing, but somebody might have died of lung cancer or throat cancer or something in this area for you. Is it you? It's not you. Could be a previous lifetime, but it seems like somebody in the family had that kind of issue and they like died that way. So that kind of, and again, comment in, Ruben, if that's you. But what you will experience, and this could have been like 2-3 generations down, okay, that impacted your genetic makeup. Hence, I see it in you, right? So anyway, check it out. This is where this side of your throat might actually be different than this side of your throat, by the way. This side might be a lot tighter. The side might be, seems like it's discolored, or the skin is a little different in this area for you, or this area, this part of your area feels like different for you. It's not your life frequency. It's not your life experience. It's something that happened a few generations back that went through, and you're reliving that, say, person's way of how they died, from what I'm seeing. The other aspect of it is kind of like a gangrenish type feel, or blood clotting and all that. So you might have blood type issues. And again, I'm not saying it extreme or anything like that, but propensity, or a propensity in your family, that's where that would come from. You can start to release on that. On the flip side, what you're doing is that you're always searching for a better you. You're always searching for a better version of you. And you've done a lot of like searching, so to speak. But the reason why you can never find, no matter how good, say, the event is or anything, the reason why you'll never be able to find yourself is because what you're trying to do, like I said, you're always trying to find yourself, right? That's the key. So, but if you're running, like, again, this part is somebody else's so strongly. Some other parts, like your eye, and your eyes might be a little different as well. Your left eye, for example, is of another frequency. So what you're interesting, or your left leg is, say, another frequency, or another person. So think of it this way, you're a mixture. You've got a bowl, you've got cake batter, right? Or you've got, forget the cake, you've got an ingredient, you're a bowl of ingredients, you've got your ingredients, a little mother here, father here, a chunk of grandfather here, you're going to throw in your great great grandfather here, great great grandmother here, and then you mix in that pot, and it's supposed to be a homogeneous mixture. But at some level, you didn't have an electric mixer, you mixed it by hand, whatever it is. So there's just chunks of, say, ingredients that didn't get, say, again, spread out evenly. So that's the way you feel. That makes sense. So different body parts feel different for you, or they may even look different for you, right? Like right foot. Yeah, your right foot is very different than your left foot, from what I'm seeing. Yeah. So if that makes sense, that's why. So, and then you got, you put it in the oven, and it's like, well, those chunks of ingredients, you take a bite, it's like, shit, it's all butter, or it's all grandfather, that kind of deal. So you're always trying to find yourself. So the reason why you're trying to find yourself is like, well, who am I compared to all these? A lot of you, you might be mixed well throughout your whole body, and you're still trying to figure out who you are, because again, you're bits and pieces of all those people, but very few ingredients are of yours naturally. So again, yes, I can help you with that. And so what I was doing for you, by the way, and again, comment in on that. And where you are now is like, wait a second, this part is me. This part is not me. This part is grandfather. This part. So you're starting to see the parts and pieces, and you can go right here, right now, and go, okay, what version of this is me then? Or if no, instead of that, you would say, you would want to go, what would Ruben's portion of this be? Or what would Ruben's right foot be like if this was just Ruben's right foot? Okay? Not a version of somebody else. And you'll start to see that. Yep, I did that. Let's see. I've seen this too during the mirror meditations. Yeah, so we do the mirror meditations, which is really powerful meditations. It literally allows you to see in the 18-day hyper meditations, it literally allows you to see who you're running, whose genetic makeup that you inherited. It's really amazing. It's basically what I see. So I've created a program that allows you, because there's hundreds and hundreds, I can't do it one-on-one. It allows you to see literally like a vision, a mirror that reflects back on who you're really resonating out. It's like, oh shit, that's my father's eyes. Oh, I got the heart issues from so-and-so. So this one, why are my eye colors different entirely? Well, you're a confused person overall. You're very in the back in the day, you're getting more and more clear from what it seems like you might have done. I don't know if you've been here with XI short term or you've been with me long and now you get it. Either way, but there's like an awakening for you. And this is what I'm talking about. One version of you is, say, I don't know. It's like, I want to say, there was I don't know if you were a twin, the twin died, or a child before you died, from what I'm seeing. Yeah, there's something like that. A child before you died. Your mother had a child that died before you. That, say, genetic infrastructure is part of you, from what I'm seeing. So there's parts of that child, which is masculine, and then you, whoever that was, Hannah. So that's why sometimes you might feel like masculine or tomboyish and so on like that. That's why you can get, if you want, you can get the benefits, because it might be cool to have two eye colors, but you can still hold on to that because that's a cool feature. But then the distortions and all that stuff that came along with that lost child, you can get rid of that stuff. So and I've done it before. Again, I can't guarantee anything because it's a case by case issue, but people have done it. So. This one, Amin, hi Moss, please scan my progress from the 18 days. Amin, so you're actually pulling away from your mother's pattern. You always say a mother's boy, right? In fact, if you're married, for example, you're always going, well, what would mom think? And you compare your wife or your girlfriend to, how your mom would be pleased with your wife or girlfriend. So all that is like, wait a second, that's my mom's pattern, that and all that. So you're moving away from that culture, and you're just going, this is what I think, this is what I like, this is what I want. So in your case, even some of the foods that you ate back in the day, that was your favorite, you know, what the fuck, I didn't even like that food, that was so-and-so's food. So you're coming into of your own. So just stay that way. Don't worry if you piss people off or anything like that. And then once you do come your own, it's like, wow, I've really defined who I am. And then people will start to respect you, or they just won't talk to you. Either way, doesn't matter. There was a female baby that died before me. Yep, Vicky. Yeah, there was a female baby that died before me. My hooded eyes look like my mother and grandfather. Yeah. So there's a interesting person, again, a good friend of mine, very beautiful, again, amazingly beautiful, and top model and all that stuff. But she looked exactly like her mom. And her mom just abused the hell out of her. Every time she looked in the mirror, she saw her mom. So it's a cycle, it's a vicious cycle, because your beauty you're a model type, right? You're getting paid for the beauty, for your beauty and all that stuff. But then the abuse, do you see that cycle? So she'd get into relationships that just keep perpetuating that cycle. So over the process, she looks more beautiful now than what she did even when she was younger, but she removed that. She obviously, and yes, there are similarities between mom and her, obviously, but there's a very, say, a distinct disconnect difference between that. When you look at her and her mom, it's like, yeah, there's no connection there. And that's where she starts to, again, look at her. It's like, wow, I'm beautiful. And this is where her life, completely transforms. So I'm so happy for you, Mike, by the way. 18 days this time was so powerful. Can you scan me? Yes. So Ali, you're really getting into really coming into your own. By the way, you're where you're moved from fixing things. The thing with the and then we'll run, guys. The thing with most modalities, it's a fix or a band-aid or duct tape. NLP, motivation, I don't care, the biggest names out there, that's what they do. They put on a band-aid or another cloak over you. What XI does is like, no, let's fix it for good. Or it's not even about fixing it. It's like, this version of you, let's not do that. Let's just create another version of you here, another simulation of you in another multiverse. Okay. We'll create this version and you run this version. So that's how you fix things. But then once you understand that, the expansion part aspect happens. This is like, what are the possibilities of my life? So again, before your genetic makeup is survival, now your genetic makeup is on thriving. What are the biggest possibilities for you that you can do? And that's really cool. So that's where you are, whoever you were that I read. See anything else? Mother's Day, Medi was amazing. Love a scan. Yeah. So for you, Manila, for you, you're actually releasing all the patterns of not just your mom, but your father, because your mom would control your father or vice versa. So either way, you're releasing that pattern and you're of a life of your own. You're not dictated, because even if they're gone, even if they're dead, it's like they've controlled you so much, that you would still see yourself through your mother or father's eyes. There's a mixture of the two there. So now you're just like you. Sometimes when you're like that, you just feel blank because you don't know what to think of yourself, because you're always looking through your mom's eyes. So when that blank happens, enjoy it, bless it, and go, God, what are the possibilities that I can create? And ask yourself that. Don't worry. Don't go, I'm blank. I don't know what to think. I'm lost and stuff. Like, yeah, I'm lost because I'm trying to find that right identity for me. And don't stop searching. And in a very short time, you'll start to come into experiences. Some of those experiences for you might suck. And then that's where you go, yeah, I don't want that. And then you don't want it. You don't go, well, just because it came in, I'm going to take it because that's your other pattern. Just because it comes in for you guys, you don't need to take it. Go, nope, I'll wait for a better version without all the baggage and all that. That's what's going to happen for you, because that's what you've done in the past. So when you say no to that or confirm your deletions, better and better versions come to you. Okay. So basically be choosy, be picky, because now you can. So, all right, guys. We could go on and on. What is monkeypox? Anyway, this one, I'm 75, and for the first time, one last time, Josephine. I think that's a Josephine. Yeah. By the way, she at 75, she looks freaking amazing. If that's a Josephine that I'm thinking about, and I think it is. Is that are you the Josephine, hun? That we went on a private function together, right? I think you're the one. Yeah. I can't quite tell your picture, but anyway, 75 years. It reminds me of that. If you're not, I'm 75, and for the first time, I feel lonely. I've been alone most of my life, but never lonely. It's a really great opportunity for you. Okay. And why do I say that? Well, it's like, shit, that sucks, right? Never been alone, but now I feel lonely. Well, Josephine, you've always been lonely. You've always been alone. You've always been, say, isolated, yeah, even with the, I don't know, 4 or 5 husbands that you've had. Anyway, 4 or 5 relationships or husbands or whatever that you've had, right? You were a loner. You were happy, but you're a loner. So now, what's happened for you, Josephine, is that now you're actually seeing, and that's why the last story. But I'm talking about this. Now you're actually seeing the pattern that you're running without the facade, without the makeup, without the duct tape and the band-aid and the rah stuff, right? You're actually seeing um, um, you're actually seeing the pattern that you're running, that you're lonely in relationships, you're lonely, so you're seeing it raw, and now it gives you an opportunity to heal that, so you can actually attract a relationship for you, um, that is going to work out nice, so you can actually hold on instead of having I don't know how many relationships you. And again, you've always been lonely in there. Now you're seeing it from a higher level, looking down. It's like, yeah, I've been lonely. Even in, and you're a great fun person to be with and so on like that. But I know at a deeper level that disconnect is there, right? You might be the life. How many of you are the life of the party, but then deep inside you're a disconnect? That's kind of like a Robin Williams scenario, right? The life of the party out there, deep inside, like lonely as hell. That's that pattern. Robin Williams obviously an extreme version. So in that situation, you start to really understand, say, where you are, and then from that point, you start to create or generate frequencies that allow people to come into you, so you feel vibrant and not alone. Okay, and even if you are alone, you're not lonely. That's the key. So, oh, that is you, Josephine. Thank you for that. Yep, I'd love to see you again, hon. We'll have to do that again. It'd be great, and bring some people. Josephine, by the way, I want her and some other XI compliant woman. Like I said, she's 75 and she looks amazing for 75. She showed me a picture of her grandmother back in the day of what she looked like at 75 and what she looks like at 75. It's like, holy shit. She's one of those individuals that I would say she's in her early 50s. And she looks body-wise, physical-wise, everything. Just she plays the part, health-wise and so on like that. So yes, that can be done. But I want her and some other people to, say, start a podcast. So think about it, Josephine. Start a podcast on, say, the transformations and helping other women really come into like XI, becoming an XI female. I can't do it on my own. Besides, I'm not female. I can always be a guest on your show and so on like that. But it's always nice to come in. All right, guys, we've been here enough. So thanks a lot, guys. Notice what you notice, and then notice the details of what you're noticing. I'll see you next week. I don't know what we've got next week, but it's going to be a good one. So, all right, guys, peace. Bye-bye. This week-long event in Ibiza will experience a transformation like we've never felt before, because there has never been a moment in history like this. These frequencies that are coming in, we can all feel it. It's a brand new simulation. You already know who you're supposed to be. You know why you're here. It's time to take your place as a pioneer of this new consciousness. The island holds extraordinary energy. It's a vortex of raw power, grace, sensuality, creation. Over the course of the week, we'll integrate all of it. And the highest version of you is the consequence. The old you, it's over. The only thing left to do is courageously let go and confirm what you already know, that you are the operant power in this universe, and you are limitless. Join us for an exhilarating week in Ibiza.